Hi, and welcome to Photoshop Basics, making your first scrapbooking layout. When you open Photoshop, this is what you'll see. These are the tools. This is called a toolbar. You will be using this. These are the file menus. There are about anywhere from 2 to any number of ways to do the same action. But mostly you'll use these palettes. These are called palettes. So you'll notice you can move them around. Use this black bar. All we're going to use is the layers palette. So you can click on the name and move it out of the rest of them. You can do that with all of them if you want. And when they move out, you'll see they get the ability to close them. So we're going to close all of these and only use the layers palette. When you move your cursor down over the bottom, you'll get this double arrow. You can pull that down so there's a little more room, and this is where you'll see your layers. First thing to do is do Control N for a new document. You can name your document. I'll name this Tutorial 1. The presets are different sizes of document. For example, 8.5 by 11 letter size. I always do my layouts in 12 inches by 12 inches by 300 pixels. You can also change it here. You could change the width and height here, or change the resolution. I always use transparent. You can also choose a white or a background color, but transparent is generally used. Hit OK or Enter. And there you have your first layer of your document. If you look in the layers palette, there's layer 1. We'll just change to the cursor here. Now I like to have my layout as large as possible, so if you do Control 0, that's as large as you want it. The next step is to bring in another picture. So you can double click anywhere on the gray. I have this set up so that the photo I'm going to use and the scrapbooking kit are all in one folder, but you can go anywhere you want on your computer to find your project. So we'll open just a photo for now. Change the cursor back to the cursor. Now we have the picture, which we can move any document around by moving the gray. Click and drag. When I started Photoshop, I couldn't figure out how to get this picture onto this layout. You notice as I click each one, the layers palette changes according to whichever document I'm on. So here's our photo document. What we do is we click and drag onto the new Photoshop document, and now we have 2 layers. The layer that's active is always highlighted in blue. We'll get rid of this so we have a clean desktop. Move this into the center. Now this picture is a little large, so the first thing you're going to learn is how to free transform. Now you can do it through the file menu, but a much quicker way is using keyboard shortcuts, and this keyboard shortcut is Control T, and you'll see you get handles on the photo. To keep it in proportion, you have to hold the Shift key down, then click on one of the corners and drag it in or out. So we'll drag it in about this size. Let go of your mouse, let go of the Shift key, and click Enter. If you're not careful, when you do that, You might get it a little out of proportion. So the order of let go of the mouse and then the shift key. Okay, so now we'll want a background underneath the picture. So we'll highlight the layer underneath the photo so that when we bring in the next layer, it will come in underneath the photo. Again, double click, and we'll choose a background. And while we're here, we'll choose a few other things. And to choose more than one, you click Control, click on the other things. And then click Open or hit Enter. And all these things will come onto your desktop. Now, as I told you before, if you click on this, that one's highlighted. So move that over there so that it will be easier to move everything else over. This is very large, so we'll move that over. Move that. Now everything is going to be underneath because I've highlighted underneath, but we'll want that on top. So all we have to do is click, drag so that it's evenly over the next layer. No, didn't work. It has to be pushed right up. Doesn't want to do it. So we'll do this. We'll click this one and put it underneath that layer. See, now it's here. And if we go to move, we'll move the photo. So we'll click on this and move that over there. And we'll get rid of this. So the first thing we'll do, you can see all the titles of your elements that you brought up. We'll click on the background, on the gray part, and that will be active. And then we'll go back here, and we're on top of the photo. So we'll click back here, click on this again, drag it over, and it's underneath the photo. Move that so it's evenly into our layout, and Photoshop will show you a pink guide if you're in exactly the right place. There. Get rid of that. Now we'll go over we'll do this so everything will come over the picture. We'll take a staple, we can move that there, but it's under there. So we'll move this under the staple. Get rid of the staple. Move the ribbon over. I find it just faster to move things approximately where I want them when I move them in, but it's not necessary. Frame over the photo, and you see it's much smaller than the photo. And then some glitter. Move that down. Okay, get rid of that. Center our layout. Now the first thing I want to do is change the size of the frame. So we'll highlight the frame layer and do Control T again to transform it. Hold the Shift key down to make it larger in proportion, like this. Drag the corners so it's just over the photo. Now you can let go of the Shift key and just move it down. Now, if you click on this center and you see the little tiny center appear, if you click there, all you're going to do is move that. But anywhere else, and you'll move it up and down. Get it centered and hit enter. Okay, now we see that the ribbon is underneath the photo, the frame. We want that on top, so click on that. Move it above the frame, and there it is. Pretty well in the right place. And do we want our glitter there? I think the glitter should be probably underneath the ribbon. And we'll do it there just, so we'll move the ribbon underneath. the glitter underneath the ribbon. All right, we're on the home stretch. We're going to put a drop shadow on the glitter. So we'll go to FX, and you'll have all these options. Just click drop shadow. And this is an average drop shadow. 75% opacity, distance 5, spread 0, don't change spread, and size 0. You can play with this a bit. Maybe we'll spread it out a bit. You can see it goes softer all around. And then we'll make a distance of only 2. It's still too far off the page, so we'll reduce it until it just sort of looks the way we want it to look. About like that. Okay. Now, to get a shadow onto the other ones, there's a very easy way to put the same shadow onto everything else. Just click Alt and pull down the FX, and now the shadow is on the frame. Put it under the ribbon, Alt again, click on FX, move it up. And if you want to make your palette neater, you press on this little arrow, and that'll just make it take less room. And then we want to drop shadow on this. So to just jump to that, you can Control click, and it will jump to the proper layer. Again, Alt, pull that down. Got a shadow there. And then to find the, just click, Control click, and we're on the staple. Put a drop shadow there. Now that looks a little heavy for that. So if you right click over drop shadow, you'll get again your menu. Just click on drop shadow again. You can move this over. You can watch what happens. Let's reduce the size. And I think the opacity. There, that's a little more believable. Click OK. Now, the words, let's click on that, are underneath the frame. You could move it up a bit and have them tucked under the frame, like that. Doesn't matter if it's going on the edge. We'll go back up to the staple, move the staple over, and you're done.